Hey guys, Coach Carney here. Today we're going to be talking about the hip hinge, essentially, and how to make that movement just the best that we can. Yeah. And being able to see where your body's at and being able to control your spine and keep it neutral, and while loading up and using the prime movers around the hip extension, which is your glutes and your hamstrings through there. Yeah. To start off with, to be able to maintain this really nice position that we see in Paddy here with his spine staying nice and neutral and loading up through his glutes, you need to be able to have a strong core as well as the right sort of motor patterns through there. Yeah. So today we're going to take you through some regressions and progressions of being able to work up and build up onto that hip hinge. And to start off with the hips, they're not just for these RDLs that you just saw Paddy doing, but in pretty much every single compound lift that you're going to be doing, your hips are going to be the main driver. Yeah, so if you see Paddy doing some deadlifts, so now even though he's still using his legs through here, you can see his knees moving, his hips are still the main thing that's moving, that bar. Yeah. Paddy does some front squats for us. You'll see the hips, they go through quite a bit of range of motion. They are a big prime mover of this lift. If Paddy's doing some jumping of some sort, yeah, should be able to see that his hips are actually just working and being able to produce that movement. Yeah. So to being able to improve that movement, or even just to work on it, because a lot of people like myself have sort of weak control around their lumbar. So if I go to pick something up from the ground, I'll be able to move and flex through my back. If you spend a long part of your day sitting down, you're spending a long time in this position with your pelvis tilted like this and your back flexed out like that, and you're trying to get into this position, it's gonna be super hard. So to try to build onto that and strengthen it up, we can start off with first working on some core stability for those. No real specific movement for them. We've got a couple examples that Paddy's going to do today, but essentially what you're trying to focus on is, if you're laying down onto the ground, we're going to do dead bugs, Paddy. If you're laying down onto the ground, you should be able to feel that if you tense up your abs, you can push your low back flat into the ground. You're trying to keep that position while moving your limbs around. A good one to do is a dead bug, so both hands up into the air, and then you're alternating opposite arm and an opposite leg, extending them through each side. But the whole time you're looking to make sure that back's pushed nice and flat and staying nice and neutral. You're not rolling and rocking around in your hips. Yeah, that's a good one there. Another variation is a plank march. So Paddy does a quick roll over. And same thing, you're just looking to maintain this really nice position through here where your spine is neutral. And that might mean for you, you might have a bit of a curve in here, just as long as it's staying in the same spot and you're having good control around your hips. So each time Paddy extends a hand out, minimal movement through there. So that's starting off with working on your core. Once you know you've got that pretty much down pat, we can work on the actual motor control of hip hinging. A good place to start is if Paddy's in the quadruped position here, knees and hands down onto the ground. No loaders on the spine through here, so it's just a good place to start and make sure you're not moving in weird positions. But Paddy should be able to keep his back looking like this and sink his hips backwards. You might feel a little bit of stretch on your glutes and whatnot. There won't be a lot of load through here, but you're just looking to move and not trying to arch through your back or move your hips out of a weird position through there. Yeah. The next progression from this that's quite a bit harder is if you come up onto your toes and you do the same thing. It's called a bear squat. So you're trying to sink your hips backwards. You'll find, I struggle with this one myself, but there's a lot more sort of stretch going on through your glutes and your hamstrings. But this is again challenging you being able to hold your spine in that same spot, keeping your core turned on and loading up through your glutes and through your hamstrings. Then next working on, as Paddy rolls over, we're going to start looking for that hip movement that we saw him doing on the barbell by starting with the glute bridge. Just a super simple way to then build up and progress from there is just coming up to the top and extending. But the hard part with this one is again maintaining that good spinal neutral position. Each time you're coming up, you're just looking on focusing on making sure that stays in the same spot. A good way to know if that's not happening is if when you come down, you've got a big arch happening through there. Yeah. If you feel tension, muscles working in your low back or in your hamstrings, it's not quite right. It should only be in your glutes through there. Yeah. To be able to progress that even more, we come on over. You can just feel me for this one, Graham. Coming up onto a bench. So on the floor, it's a lot more basic, but now we've got an extra range of motion. It's gonna be a lot harder to be able to maintain that core position. Through there, you might find you wanna relax and use your spine to create the movement. using those back muscles on there. So if you find that you go down really low and you're coming up and you're feeling your back working, you're probably relaxing a little bit down there and trying to activate your back. So keep your core turned on, make sure you're driving through your hips. To progress that even more, try a single leg hip thrust just like this. Pretty challenging on there. Cool. So, still working through in there. You've done most of these movements and you know you have that good spinal control and you're keeping control of your core. Then working up, try out a kettlebell that's going to keep the weight closer to your center of gravity, and being able to maintain that better position is a lot easier if that's a lot closer. Yeah. So if we're going to do that RDL movement, you start off with the kettlebell and let it ride in between your feet while you're sinking your hips backwards, just like that. So what you're looking for, keep the abs turned on. You're going to load up through your glutes and you will feel your hamstrings stretch, but they shouldn't be working or straining too much through here. Just keep the kettlebell nice and close, sinking on back, then using your glutes to come back up. If you don't feel much pain through your back or through your hamstrings getting too much of a load, that's a good thing. That's what we want. And then from there, there's a lot of different variations with the barbell. You can do good mornings, which are these ones onto here. That's going to load up the movement quite a bit. If you're able to do a hip hinge with a heavy kettlebell, you should be fine to then progress that onto barbell RDLs, good mornings, and working on some loaded hip thrusts. But try out a couple of those variations just to be able to make sure that you've actually got that control around your spine and keeping it neutral, as well as that range of motion around your hips.